Good morning. My name is Lauren Heistad, author to the book Homecoming. Big day today. Starting to read the second book within my SOULworks Trilogy, originally called Evolving Your SOULworks. Interesting, because this morning I woke up with the understanding it was time to move forward, and it was almost like I was just recuperating from the fact I just put out my first book and read it out loud, and I was okay with just that. I had, even when I started that process, I said it was a promise to myself to tell my story. This morning it was an interesting little conversation I had with my spirit team and my higher self. They kind of explained it like this. If activating your SOULworks, a healing journey, was a promise to the personality of Lauren Heistad in this life, evolving your SOULworks, a miraculous journey, that's a promise I made to my soul. And that's a truth I can't deny. So on we go. Okay. Before I start the chapter, the first chapter in the book, I had kind of decided that there was this one little entry, preface to the book, that I wanted to read. So we'll start there, okay? And thank you for joining me. I really appreciate you witnessing the testaments that is my own SOULworks. Okay, so the first half of the book Evolving Your SOULworks, the one we're just about to dive into, is derived from personal experiences and general knowledge I have chosen to share from a time when my world had some degree of normalcy to it. Truth. The second half of the book Evolving Your SOULworks expresses and conveys some of the more recent events of my life, depicting biblical prophecy. And this book was written in 2017, just to put context to that. Now, I tell these stories not to gain support or understanding. In fact, I'm quite scared to speak my truth, and in all honesty, fear the backlash it might provoke. To this day, of course I do. I fear the backlash. But fear's never stopped me before, has it? Nope. I am compelled to share them anyway. Despite my own fears and hesitations, I think they deserve to be told. I do believe the universe and my own higher self is working through me as a conduit and spokesperson to cosmic events that are currently in progress, and that the depths of their significance or insignificance needs to be heard. As I write down the experiences I have tried to escape, but simply cannot, I hope you hear the words. Instead of focusing on the person telling the story. I hope you heed the teachings, instead of letting your own fears engulf the magic behind the encounters. And I pray you show compassion not only to me, but also to an entire world. Shifting through a deep, soulful, and much needed change. Mostly, I hope you feel the truth and apply the teachings to your own awareness and SOULworks. I believe that is truly what they are intended for. All right. Diving in. Originally chapter 1 in the book Evolving Your SOULworks. chapter 24 in the SOULworks Trilogy Homecoming. It is called The Sandman. Today we live in a society vastly intertwined and interconnected through the World Wide Web. The internet has undeniably and remarkably altered the way we seek information, converse with loved ones, conduct research, share resources, send messages, and interact with strangers from across the globe. This communication tool has virtually accelerated our society into the information age. And this remarkable new era of technology has bridged a gap that was otherwise unattainable for data and knowledge dissemination. Or so we thought. Enter the Sandman. I have an old friend. You know the type. The kind you used to see on a regular basis and yet somehow, over time, slowly drifted apart. This particular friend, who I will refer to as Trevor, had not been in my life for many years. We lived in separate communities, had our own separate families, separate interests, separate lives. You get the idea. There had literally not been any communication between the two of us for many, many years. At the time, we were not even linked via the usual online social media options, meaning we did not connect via posts, photo uploads, or random updates on what was going on in each other's lives. We were simply disconnected in all respects. However, there's my howevers. Despite our distance in both miles and communication, I started to have weird dreams about this friend. Now, I have a lot of weird dreams while in the middle of a deep slumber. So for me to say this set of dreams was truly out there, that's certainly notable. However, these dreams were definitely out there. In each dream, Trevor was trying to take his own life. In his basement, at his place of work, the locations change slightly each time, but the actual dreams are always the same. On every occasion within the dreams, Trevor was in utter despair with a noose around his neck and crying out to the heavens for help. It was certainly a devastating sight to bear witness to, but it was also during those cries for help that I would jump into action. Just like some weird comic book hero, I would instantly respond to the distress signal and come to his rescue. I would pull Trevor off to the side, provide him comfort, adamantly declare it was not his time to go home to heaven, while uttering the words, "Not today, my friend, not today." Each time, I would hold my dear friend within the dream's state for as long as needed. Like taking part in some weird type of surreal virtual world, I would watch the scene unfold and work to interrupt his suicide attempt until someone came into the room to provide assistance or provide enough time had passed for Trevor to change his mind for yet another day. Although every dream finished with a happy ending, every time I was presented with this vivid encounter, I would wake up and become a little more anxious about my dear old friend. Of course I was. These dreams were very sporadic, but incredibly memorable and vivid just the same. 3 times within a 2-year span, I dreamed of Trevor trying to commit suicide. And each time, I provided the same service. I would speak to my friend on a soul level, take him off to the side, away from the drama of the situation, and reassure him I was and will always be there for him. Now, of course, in the morning, this was never really the case. I was never truly there for him. Come sunrise, I would simply go about my own life, never reaching out to contact him and truly never putting much thought into the meaning behind the dreams. Beyond, well, that was weird. Yeah, it was. The first two dreams, that is. The third dream was definitely the charm. Following the third encounter of alarmingly watching Trevor struggle with life and consider another suicide attempt, I finally started to ponder the dreams. Perhaps he was literally calling for help. Perhaps he was suffering and could really use a friend. Upon reflection of this concept, I received what I have learned to accept as my formal confirmation from Spirit. A wave of energy flowed through me head to toe and back up again in a quick and fluent tidal wave. Much faster than I said that sentence, for darn sure. Quick energy flow down to my toes, back up. With nothing but this simple surge of energy that was totally tangible, Spirit confirmed this was in fact an outcry for help. It was, and that my services were certainly needed. Not a wonderful scenario to receive confirmation on, but confirmation nonetheless. So I followed the nudges from Spirit, swallowed my pride, set aside my fears of being wrong. That was new for me. And I simply reached out to Trevor. Now, the first time I contacted Trevor was the day after I woke up from that third dream in the series. Being the strong communication type, intuitive healer, and true spokesperson for Spirit, I did what any brave or concerned soul of my generation would do. I sent him an email. Yep, that's right. No phone call. No visit. Just a quick electronic message. In the body of the text, I indicated I was not sure what was going on with him or in his life, but I felt I was supposed to help him. I indicated I was aware of 3 low points where I felt depression was a problem and urged him to contact me so we could further discuss and work it out. And then I simply hit the send button and waited a reply. And waited. And waited. Perhaps I had insulted him, I thought to myself. Perhaps he felt great and was laughing at my absurd observations and forwardness. Maybe I overstepped my boundaries. Perhaps the dreams were meaningless. Perhaps. It was at this point I called my guides and angels for help. I acknowledged my deepest fears, reiterating my willingness to help out if there was anything I could do, and then stubbornly, once again out of the fear of being wrong, suggested that if it was so important for me to help, and that if Trevor was not going to respond to my message, then the powers that be, well, they should find another way to get us to connect. Enter a divine connection. A day after spewing all my thoughts and demands out to my guides, I was contacted by Trevor's wife. Although I had seldom talked to this lady or connected with her in any way, she sent me a distinct request for help in her email. She expressed concern for her husband admitted to not knowing if or how I could help, and then humbly asked I provide some type of assistance. I responded right away, bringing awareness to the message I had sent a week earlier. This time, instead of just sending emails back and forth, I offered to meet with Trevor, suggesting I had time to get together the following week. Now, upon reflection of the correspondence and my offers to help, Trevor was brought into the loop and was grateful for the outreach. And apparently, he wasn't checking the original email account that I had used. Fair. When asked if I could provide help the following week, Trevor responded in an honest and truthful fashion I will never forget. He said, "Please come and help, but can you come tomorrow? I don't think I'm going to be here next week." His response brought clarity and urgency to the situation, and although I had no idea how I was going to help, it was becoming more and more apparent that I would. When I arrived the next morning, I was greeted by a nervous, hesitant old friend whose demeanor changed the minute I walked in the door. He joked that I'd come all that way to see how crazy he had become. And I reciprocated by teasing I had in fact come all that way to show him how crazy I always was. Years of being apart and the awkwardness of the situation just melted away as we reconnected at a soul level, and we both instantly felt at ease. Now, I don't want to oversimplify the process of spiritual healing, but it literally took only 30 minutes. 30 minutes of channeling loving energy from the spirit world to undo over 10 years of depression for Trevor. What had been attempted through many other means, including therapy, counseling, and medication, had been shifted in a holy instant with the divine. And not that I'm downplaying those other methods. However, that shift is exactly why I continue to follow my inner guidance, work with spirit, speak my truth, and channel healing energies from the heavens. I allow my body and energy field to be utilized by the spiritual realm and help direct the energy where needed. I create a portal with intentions through which the energy can flow. Even though our earthly minds may not be able to fully understand the process or interconnectivity occurring, Spirit is most certainly present to inspire our lives for the better. The energy does go where it is needed and helps to bring changes on levels we can't even begin to fully comprehend. Yet. But we can literally feel the change. We can feel the shifts that occur when spirit is brought into the equation and love is brought into the equation and given the opportunity to evolve our life experience here on earth. In fact, that day forward, Trevor started to feel better. His depression lifted, his mood changed, and he literally got his life back. My dear friend had suffered depression for many years and was having trouble moving forward with his life. As it turns out, Trevor had 3 distinct low points at the times and locations I had dreamed about. He had truly and sincerely needed my help. In fact, my visions were not dreams at all. Not even close. They were glimpses of his reality. Now, what I had yet to understand and fully grasp until our visit was that I had already been providing help. You see, while talking with Trevor about his depression, he confided although adding a disclaimer that he was not sure I would even believe him. That 3 times in the past 2 years he had attempted to hang himself. And each of those times, it was as if an invisible force entered the room, pulled him off to the side, provided comfort, and said, "Not today, my friend. Not today." Evolving your soul works. I love the internet, social media, and the advancements of technology. I love the way our society has created the ability to access information at our fingertips and can virtually connect with anyone, anywhere, anytime. However, a quick reality check begs us to realize we've always had this ability. We've always been connected. We have always had access to the infinite wisdom and knowledge of the divine. It's not some new fandangled techno gadget that is powering this interconnectivity. This connection is not reliant on an electrical power supply or a hard drive. It is powered by the divine and reliant on our ability to open our hearts and minds to spirit. We can literally connect with any soul, both of this world and of the spiritual realms. The connection is instantaneous and infinite. In my experience with Trevor, he never sent one email, placed one phone call, or made any attempt whatsoever to connect with me in physical form. However, I heard his call for help and responded just the same. Far be it from me to try to explain or fully understand the scope of what occurred those 3 nights, but far be it from me to deny or dismiss that they happened. I heard Trevor call. I heard him call for help in the middle of the night from miles away, while submerged deep within a dream state with the Sandman. Furthermore, within that lucid dream, I responded to his needs and held him in my arms until help could arrive. Let us not overlook the sheer magnitude of this event or its possible implications. Ask, and you shall receive. Look, and you shall find. When a child of God called out to the heavens in his greatest time of need, I, a mere child, and fellow, I said that wrong. When a child of God called out to the heavens at his greatest time of need, I, a mere person and fellow child of God, was sent there to respond. I was the one who received his distress call and created a positive change in a loved one's life. I was the angel in the night that helped calm the storms. I was the invisible force that made a difference. I was, and I am, a part of the divine. And so are you. As it is in heaven, so it is on earth. We're all powerful, divine souls capable of so much more than what we could ever begin to fathom. We are all connected and have the power within us to create change, to connect with loved ones from a distance, and to bring healing to our world. And heal it we will. Thanks be. All right, your move. Number 1, give remote viewing some airtime. Remote viewing is the ability to tune into any situation using only your sixth sense. The very real and achievable skill is like experiencing a virtual tour from afar. Make it a daily practice to expand your mind by tuning into people, places, or situations. Some ideas to help develop this skill include focusing your attention on today's news headlines before reading them, tuning into someone's current mood before meeting up with him or her, or zooming into the layout of a building before ever stepping inside. When you are done, be sure to compare your results and learn from your interpretations. And as a reminder, any remote viewing that you do so out of courtesy for all souls and out of a place of love. Always the key. Open your telepathic software. Within every person is the ability to connect with loved ones from a distance, even without the use of modern technology. Shocking, I know. Each and every one of us has come into this world with this unique telepathic software already installed. It's already installed. Your job is to consciously open the program and learn how to use it. Start by holding the intention that you will connect and communicate with someone through the powers of your mind. Send a friend or loved one a mentally projected message, such as "call me," and then sit back and watch the results magically begin to unfold. Every single person on earth can attain this level of development. I've successfully connected and taught many people to see, hear, feel, and know their energetic connection to all that is, as well as witnessed countless others around the world. Thank goodness. Naturally explore and open this inherent power on their own. You are no different. Try on your superpowers for size. If you were to wear a cape in this lifetime, what kind of hero would you want to be, and what type of powers would you wield? Allow yourself to dream of the possibilities of what you can accomplish from a loving perspective. As silly as it sounds, deciding that you do in fact have the power to see through walls, travel at the speed of light, walk on water, and hear calls for help from across the globe is a fundamental part of jump-starting your superpowers and putting evolution into motion. Fine-tune your programming. Oftentimes, when we first start utilizing our sixth sense on a more regular basis, we tend to add to the guidance received and misinterpret information along the way. That is not to say you're not an excellent communicator with spirit. Rather, it is an indication of your logical mind still getting in the way. Avoid the impulses to change the information that comes in. Add in your own fear-based components. They do like to sneak in there. Or doubt what you have seen. Instead, learn to trust the process by comparing the details of what came in to the actual events as they are confirmed. Then start to pay attention to how it feels when clear guidance arrives, compared to when the transmusions are distorted with your own mind. And lastly, send in the love. Send in the love. When we begin to develop our sixth sense, we tend to dismiss the ideas that flow through our thought processes or second guess our insights. Here's my official rule of thumb. Even if you doubt what you have heard or are skeptical on the images projected onto your mind, act upon them anyway. Sending someone love and thoughtful intentions is always beneficial. Always. Regardless of what level it is needed at. The strongest, most resilient superpower this world will ever see is the power of love. You hold that power within your heart, and I challenge you to use it. Thank you for meeting me here again. It is an honor to share this journey with you. It is. And I send you all kinds of love and gratitude for meeting me here today too.